Hi everyone. What I initially found difficult about remote learning was that I couldn't see the student work in real time. Like I couldn't look over my student's shoulder and see exactly what they were doing or what they needed help on. So um, I tried different things to be able to see them. So the first thing I tried was when giving an activity for a statistics lesson, I used Google Sheets, and then in the master tab, I gave them almost like a scaffold for them to fill in with their data here. And then they were able to use the commands here to calculate. So for example, this student had this data. She calculated all of these using the commands and also created these charts. And I found this useful just because I could click from student to student because I made a separate tab for each student so that I can see which student was struggling, which student didn't have any problems. I found one student was kind of just entering in the numbers instead of using the commands. So I copy pasted the commands in for him and I kind of like walked him through making the chart, whereas the stronger student was able to do all of this on her own. So it allowed me to see exactly where a student was and what they needed help on. And the students also were able to click on each other's tabs and see how students with different data came up with different calculations, and it changed their conclusions of their answers at the end. Another um, assignment that I did was on angles of rotation. And what I did here was I had students in breakout rooms, and each breakout room had a different color slide. So there was the red group, the yellow group, orange group. So each of them were color coded. And once they were in their breakout rooms, they were able to designate a role for each of the students, and they were given a different angle of rotation. And then they could click on their own individual slides, and they would do their own rotation in GeoGebra and then export the image and insert it here and do their work. And then as a group, they discussed what they thought the rule of rotation for 90 degrees was for 180 and 270. And at the end, we all came back as a whole group and discussed what we thought the rules were and what their findings were. And we were able to kind of put them all together here in this final slide. And I found this very useful because I could very easily click on a student's slide and see where they're at, what they're thinking, any mistakes that they were making. And I like that you could just put in a comment and you can assign it to them so that they could see later on, maybe if it wasn't addressed during the class, they can come back to it and make any revisions to their work. Yes. And finally, I also like to use Desmos because in Desmos, you're able to pretty much create your own activity for any lesson, and it's not math specific. You can use it for any subject. Here, I had them type in the names of their group members. This is a multiple choice question. This one, they had to draw their own segment after the transformation. This one was also drawing, and this was multiple choice. So, I mean, this one is an open-ended question. So there's many different possibilities. And there's also a card sort and a polygraph activity that you can use. So it's very useful for any subject. And what I like about it is that when you click on your dashboard, you can see all of the students who are logged in. And as they're working, you could see them on each of the slides. And as soon as they're done for multiple choice questions, if they get it incorrect, it shows you an X. And if they were done correctly, it will just show a regular circle, or it will give you a check mark. And if you want to see any individual student on a certain slide, you can just click and see their work. And I've had many students while working, even though they're in a group, some of them will reach out to me and say, Miss Jane, can you help me with slide number 8? And I can just click on it and see and help them right there. So I hope that at least one of these were helpful to you. And thank you so much for letting me share. Bye.